Hey, excuse me, could you follow my Twitch?
There was a period where I basically said, I was on a podcast, I basically said Splatoon competitive content, or just Splatoon, like, the state of content when it comes to Splatoon content, or how many content creators there are, it's terrible, because there's literally only me and Wadsum, and no one else is, in terms of, like, top players are making content, or doing anything for themselves so that they can, basically make a name for themselves and basically just immortalize themselves within the community, because like it's also a thing that a lot of players still don't understand, and I always say like you should be doing that, you should be looking into doing that, because trust me, like you can be a top player and you can be very, very good at the game and all that type of stuff, but mark my words, once you're not a top player anymore, you are going to be forgotten. No one's going to remember, because basically, it's like what's gonna happen is that time's gonna pass. There's gonna be new people coming into the scene, and they ain't gonna know anybody. They ain't gonna know who you are. There's gonna be no history on you because you didn't put anything out there for people to want to follow you. You're just, at that point of time, you were just a player that was really good at the game. There was no personality. There was nothing to show for the work that you put in as a top player. There's just basically nothing. You didn't teach anyone anything. You just yapped on Twitter, and that was it. And then the thing is, for me, at least when I was a top player since 2015 to 2019, I was making content since the day I started. I made content since the day I started, and it's a really important thing that you should do that, because I don't have to play competitive anymore. But through the years and time of Splatoon being a thing, people are gonna remember who I am within the Splatoon community for the next 10 years or more, or anything like that. So it's so important, like if you want your stake in the community where you want people to know who you are, you want people to remember you, like you need to put some work in there. You need to put work in there to show what you like. You need to put work in there so people can actually follow you, you know? Follow on the journey, you know? It's very, very important. I understand too, like, it depends if you do want that. It really, really depends if you do. It might not be for some people's interest. Some people might not care. But like, I don't see why not. I mean, you're gonna why would you put 4,000, 6,000, 5,000, however many hours into this game to be the best player that you can possibly be, but have absolutely no content to show for it, you know? I think the very important thing as a top player, or anybody who, like, even just a competitive player too, like, very, very important thing about it is just that if, like, where am I trying to go with this? Jeez, I just blanked. I just hella blanked, but I think it's just very, very important that if you want to be remembered and you want to have your stake in the community, you should make content, you know? You should make content. You have to be involved. Whether it's like there's so many different things. I mean, there's good examples. Like, me as an example, obviously, as a competitive player, top player. Chara is an example. Sendu is an example. Sendu's a brilliant example, especially with his website. That's going to be used for however many times, unless he stops using that. Who's other good example? Chase is a brilliant example. Lovestar isn't a brilliant example, and they don't even play comp. Like, make that sinking, alright? Lovestar is probably a more popular player, more, like, well-known player than to most top players that exist today. And they don't even play competitive. They just upload videos. Like, they're probably more popular than... Look, I'm not gonna name names, but let's just say they're probably way more popular and known than the good majority of top players that are in our scene right now. You know? So, I'm not gonna drop name drops, alright? I'm just not gonna do it, because that's just not fair. I definitely could, but I definitely have names in hand. But at the same time, it's more so on if those people want to do that. If people want to do that, if it's in their best interest, then they do it. But, you know, if you're gonna, like I said again, if you're gonna put 4,000 hours, 5,000 hours, however many hours into the game, like, what would it be, like, what would be the point of not putting that time into content or putting that, you know, effort into a little bit of content just so that all that work, all those hours you put in, all those years you put in, weren't for nothing. They aren't just something that's forgotten, you know? Like, imagine that. You put, like, you just have to think about it. Look, you put 5,000, 10,000 hours into a game, and then you're done. You have no content to your name. You leave. You come back just to check in. No one remembers you. Imagine that. Like, you know how sad that would be? It's incredibly sad. So that's what, and the thing is that you can't expect tournament organizations, you can't expect anybody else, you can't expect already popular YouTubers or anything like that to make that clout for yourself. You have to make that clout, you have to do it for yourself, you know? You have to. Otherwise, you will be forgotten. So, the importance of content is so important for any player. Someone said Jmoji. I mean, Jmoji does not do comp, but the fact that how big Jmoji is, he's gonna be remembered within the Splatoon community for how, like, as long as it's, like, as long as it exists, you know? So, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's so important for you, for all competitive players to do a bit of content. Just, like, you don't have to be the best player as well. You really don't. Like, I feel like there is, like, standards, or some people feel like there's a standard that you have to be the best. You really don't. Like, literally, you could just do X Battle and you can make a series like, I'm trying to do this with X Battle. You just gotta, just do something. There's, like, it's so free. Anyone can do anything, but at the same time, people have to want to do it. And if they don't want to do it, that's fair enough. If they want to do it, and if the goal is that they want to be known at the very end of as well, or the end of Splatoon's life, or however long Splatoon lasts, then wake up. So, yeah, nah. That's another yap session. That's just another yap for you guys, just so you guys can put that into, could do something with that. But you don't want to be forgotten, man, because I don't want that to happen to people. Because, like, look, good example, there's a number of really, really good Splatoon 1 players, and I want some people to, how about mention them in my chat right now, if you can even remember some, or name some, like, how about name some, sorry to, I'm not gonna put names, but, like, let's just say there are some EU Splatoon 1 players out there. Can we name a few that have done well in some tournaments? I don't know. That aren't, like, really, really known. I'm pretty sure not a lot of people within the Splatoon community would be able to do that. Unless they played Splatoon 1. But at the same time, if it's Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3, new people in the scene, they're not gonna know any history about any of these players. Because they didn't make anything. So, there's just nothing. There's nothing. And that's not their fault. It depends if they actually wanted to do that, but, you know. Well, actually, in that case, it is their fault. But I mean, it depends if it matters to them. So, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. That's I just had to get that out of my system because, like, I do have a lot of thoughts about like content within the scene. Like, I do think about it a lot, and I feel like there's just so many missed opportunities, especially when it's like big Nintendo events. There's so many missed opportunities that some people can really take advantage of and really, like, push the scene much further than it already is. But it's just a matter of them, like, people actually putting that time into it. So, what do you mean by make anything? You mean like content? I mean content, yeah, like content, videos, website, resources, or anything. Like, I mean, videos, like, I think videos are obviously the most strongest form of content there, because that's, I mean, those videos are immortalized. Like, you can use that as a resource, you can use that to share around anywhere. You can be searched up by Google. Like, those things are so important, and like you just need to have a little bit of like just do a little bit of research on CEO, just like search engine optimization, which is what it's called. Have a little bit of research on that, learn how to use that, because trust me, it's very, very powerful once you understand it. It's kind of funny because I was thinking yesterday how little people have tried growing the scene lately, which is kind of sad. That's what I'm saying. Like, people don't, like I said, it depends if people care enough to do that, but I know people care, but it's just, maybe it's a thing that they don't know how to do it. Like, I've put my arms out there and been like, hey, if you really want help, I'm always there. Like, I will, like, if there is anything to do with content, if you're someone who is inspiring to do content and understand how to do it properly and how you can grow off it, look, I'm not gonna say that you're gonna be super successful, but like, I do have some success stories, all right? Because I've said the same thing before. If you looked at, I mean, look, Chara is like what my, for me personally, I'm not saying I made Chara, but Chara is like, for me, a success story because I helped him a little bit when it comes to actually getting your foot out there and like, and being like, you know, this is how it goes. But there are other people who actually got their foot in there that did really well with some of my advice. Shockwave from Australia, Shinx, who used to be a player. Like all these people both like very, very quickly got like 2,000, 3,000 subscribers just because they started doing things, you know? But at the same time, like it depends on how much work you want to put in at the same time. Like if you want to put in that work, you want to actually get there, like it depends on how much work you want. Just, I don't know if Twitter's just weird because I barely see any spat talk on them so long. Well, Twitter is different, mainly because what happens on Twitter, I think people are really trying just to find things to hate. I don't know. Twitter is a very, like, it depending on what you, like, depending on what Twitter, like, your Twitter experience is. My Twitter is just full of memes, and I just try to just put vibes out there and just, like, get people to really just enjoy Splatoon for what it is. Like, and just put memes out there, just be funny, you know? But I'm really not interested with all the drama. I try to stay away as like far away with any sort of drama, unless it's like something I feel like I need to speak on. But if it's like personal BS, I'm not gonna get myself into it. Like I don't care. I don't care if this person doesn't like that person. Like, look, all humans just don't like. are not gonna like each other. It just is what it is. But you know, if you want to get into it and you want to depress yourselves and search for that content, then that's yourself. That's your vibe. But it's not my vibe. So I just don't care. Like, the thing is, I mean, I've said this before. There are some times where people do make Splatoon takes, and I think some people are scared to make Splatoon cakes or anything like that. But the thing is, I feel like if you have a Splatoon take, you should turn that Splatoon take into a video because it will probably get views, especially if it's been, like, retweeted and liked as much as it has on Twitter. That is, like, an easy way just to get some conversation going. And you can post that on Twitter, and you can post your thoughts on YouTube. Like, literally, that's just such a good way just to, like, get some people talking, get more people talking about Splatoon, so. 20 reasons why the aerospray sucks. I'm not gonna lie, that's a banger video. You can morph that into so many different ways. You can make that funny, you can make it super serious if you want, but you can also make it really funny, too. Like, you can do that with every single weapon in the game. Honestly, that's a new niche right there. Anyone can do that. 20 reasons why this weapon sucks. 20 reasons why this sucks. That's a whole YouTube channel waiting to happen. It can be so simple. Like, sometimes the viewers have... Well, actually, no, not gonna lie. Most of the time, the viewers have the best ideas because the viewers know what the viewers want to watch. Videos make more sense because them being longer means you have to actually have a proper conversation. Yeah, honestly, it's so much, like, I think videos are so much better in terms of, like, having good Splatoon discussions because, like, you can have that video go out and then people just talk about it. You can talk about it in the comment section. You can have a whole discussion in the comment section. That whole conversation is immortalized because it's in the comment section. It's not on Twitter for 1 minute and then it's forgotten the next day. Like, first of all, stop doing your Google Docs. Stop doing Twitter threads. If you're actually doing, like, serious Splatoon guides or anything like that, just stop it. Just don't do that. It's a waste of your time. Like, no one's, like, people will look at it for one day, and then it's just lost in the Twitter source at that point. You want to make sure that you immortalize things like that. Otherwise, like, you spent, like, however many hours doing one thing, making this huge Google Doc for people to read, or Twitter thread that for people to read. And, like, you know, you spent a lot of time on it, and it's just, like, no one cares. Like, all that wasted work, like, for no one to be able to search that up. So, and also, people don't want to read. I'm gonna be real, people don't want to read. People just want to use their eyes and watch. They don't want to have to look at one word and this word. Like, people don't want to read. Stop making people read. Let's make people listen, all right? Because people want to listen. Yeah, no, that's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents on it. That is my whole discussion about content and, you know, yeah.